Hi guys, fellow commentator on YouTube, Professor Tim Wilson, who some of you may know, and if you don't, do check him out, makes some very interesting arguments in favour of private education and presents positions against Labour's policy of introducing VAT on private schools. Now, I don't know if the policy makes sense from an economic point of view. On the one hand, in theory, it will raise finance for the Treasury by the fact that schools will now collect VAT for the government. But on the other, some students may end up in state schools, which will result in a higher cost for that sector. However, I don't think Labour is truly making an economic argument, but more a political one. Here, Kay Burley grilled the Education Secretary over a tweet she put out about the need to go ahead with this policy.
I have to ask you about, we haven't spoken since you were accused of negative messaging with a tweet where you said, let me just read it in detail if I may. You said, our state schools need teachers more than private schools need embossed stationery. Our children need mental health support more than private schools need new pools. Our students need careers advice more than private schools need AstroTurf pitches. Can you see how that would be divisive?
My priority as Education Secretary is how I deliver high and rising standards in our state schools. That's what I'm focused on. And in order to do that, in the very tough environment that we have at the moment where it comes to the public finances, we need to raise additional funds to do it. So we are ending the tax breaks that private schools enjoy, and we'll invest money in our public services to make sure that children get a great start in life.
I understand that, but would you write that tweet in the same way again?
This reflects back what others have said in terms of the choices that they feel private schools might have to consider. I know that state schools, where the vast majority of your viewers will be sending their children to school, have had to confront some really difficult questions over the last decade or so in terms of how they manage their budgets. They've done so in incredibly challenging circumstances, and I think in that context it relates to the commentary that others were offering around what VAT changes would mean for private schools. I think private schools can adjust accordingly in order to manage.
So you stand by those words?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting that Kay Burley brings up the idea that the tweet was divisive, but the fact that you have state schools and private schools is divisive. So the tweet can be divisive, but the reality is that education is divisive in a sense that, some people will go to a state school and some people will go to a private school. Now, once again, as I said, I don't know if there's an economic argument for this, but it's more a political one. And Labour know that the vast majority of voters send their kids to state schools. It's a very small minority that send them to private schools. And those who do send their kids to private schools are less likely, not impossible, but it's less likely that they're going to vote for the Labour Party. So this policy is designed to appeal to voters, the voters who vote for Labour. It's not really appealing to Conservative Party voters or Reform UK Party voters. It's appealing to Labour voters. And once again, I don't think this is an economic policy. It's more a political one, saying we're on the side of working people. This is what Labour constantly say. And is there a real advantage having this policy? Not really, but there's a political advantage. The more the media talk about it, the more they try to grill government ministers over it. Ministers just double down and say, we're on the side of working people. That's all they have to say. That's all they have to do. And once again, the more the media talk about it, the more it highlights the fact that private schools don't have VAT. And the public would be asking the question, why? Why are these businesses, they would see them as businesses, not charging VAT? Why is there a case that private schools are in this special category? And the more it shines a spotlight on private education, it asks more questions. It results in more questions asked. So once again, I don't think there's an economic argument being made. It's more a political one. And Labour know that the majority of their voters send their kids to state schools, and this is, once again, not a problem for Labour. I don't think it will be a problem for them going forward. But let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.